puck. Will tip it off. Michael Cyphers, Earl Walton, Sean Lehigh, our officials. And away we go.
Man-to-man defense for Albany. Florida's a team that really likes to attack you off the dribble.
And it's poked away right away by Evans. And an early turnover for Florida on their first possession. Keep an eye on Peter Hooley, number 12 in purple, and number 14, Sam Rowley, the two Aussies that work very well off each other. It's Puck to take the first shot, and the big man with a sweet little mid-range game. Florida coming fast down the floor, and a whistle.
And on that first possession, Will Brown from Albany got up and told his guys, slow down. They're interested in making sure this game is played at a very slow pace, and obviously Florida trying to push it up the court. So Albany, they're going to have to work very hard getting back in transition.
Casey Prather first to the free throw line, a 68% free throw shooter. So much talent, so much experience here for the Gators with the 4 seniors in the starting lineup. Prather is one of them out of Jackson, Tennessee. Averaged a little over 14 points per game this year. He hits 1 out of 2.
And here comes Florida with the pressure. You have to be able to handle the traps.
DJ Evans, a very good ball handler.
Now, one of the things, you'd like to play slowly, but if they're going to trap you, you have to make them pay for the trap. If you find an open guy, he's got to be able to knock down shots.
Now, those were Will Brown's words prior to the Mount St. Mary's game. Albany defeated Mount St. Mary's, very much an up-tempo style. And a tough shot put up by Rowley. This is on his first opportunity.
And that's what Rowley does. He operates around the basket. It's going to be tough going for him inside, though, if you get Young and guys like that in there.
Frazier dumps it down to Young, cutting to the basket as you get. Good interior passing by the Gators. And you get with the first field goal of the day for Florida. Evans, he'll fire a quick 3.
And that's okay as long as it goes in, but I think if you're going to get those open shots, you do have to take them.
Well, if you were with us on Tuesday at Dayton, Albany jumped ahead 21-2 on Mount St. Mary's. They gave up that 19-point lead. Ended up surviving and winning 71-64. So they played well. They're hot. They've won 7 of their last 8, including their conference tournament. They got their hands full in the Gators today, though. Prather off the back iron. Rowley secures the rebound.
That's not Prather's game, the jump shot. Not that he can't shoot him, but he's much better closer to the basket, driving to the goal.
Albany averaging 66 points per game, allowing just shy of 64. And of course, the Gators not scoring points like they're accustomed to, are very much a defensive presence, only giving up 57.9 a game this year. Incredibly talented defensive team. Shot clock down to 4. Here's Evans, steps back, Wilbekin right on it, and he knocks down a rainbow. 2-pointer for DJ Evans.
Well, if you're going to be a number 16 seed, upset a number 1 seed, you're going to have to make shots like that.
Albany will take some very unorthodox shots, especially from Hooley and Rowley. Frazier goes right by Johnson, looking up top for Young. Able to keep it in bounds. Here's Prather. No. And it's tapped away. Looks like Johnson got a piece. Evans on the move. Evans flying high, and he's fouled hard. Evans goes down. Free throws coming up.
And we saw Evans, and he has a great ability to push the basketball and then finish in transition. That's Casey Prather, I think, coming in from the back, has no chance to affect the play. That was a tough shot, and Prather actually bailed him out by fouling him.
Evans has been on a good run here. 16 points in the America East Championship game. They beat Stony Brook on Stony Brook's home floor and had 22 and 9 rebounds on Tuesday at the first 4. Subs coming in for Florida. Dorian Finney-Smith. Yaget will take a seat, as will Patrick Young.
And Evans, they list him very, very generously at 5'9". He's nowhere close. Had those 9 rebounds. That was pretty impressive.
Check out the blue line up above, flashing. Harvard and Cincinnati coming down to the end. Harvard with the lead late. That's over on TNT. Possible 12-5 upset there. Prather. Another one long. Poor shooting early by the Gators. Florida out of the gates, just 1 out of 5.
Not a lot of movement on offense by Florida.
Rowley gives it up to Evans. Johnson.
Johnson's a good driver.
Their most athletic player, and he gets a friendly roll. Gary Johnson, the senior from Moreno Valley, California. He's on the board. Finney Smith, another one off the back iron. And that's wrestled down by Buck.
Florida this year has had a lot of games, Brian, where they have started slowly. And this is a game where if you're Florida, you'd like to start quickly so you get the idea out of Albany's head immediately that they can compete in the game. The longer they stay in the game, the more they start to believe what their coach told them before the game.
Peter Hooley. And that was tipped away by Prather. Wilbekin comes away, back to Prather, returns the favor, and Casey Prather gives him something to cheer about.
Rowley's going to have to be better with the ball when he gets down inside because the defense just collapsed on him. Florida will trap you in any number of places. And that guy, just because he's close to the basket, doesn't mean he's not going to find 2 or 3 Gators all around him.
Rowley with the ball here. 90 turnovers this season prior to the tournament, and then he had 8 in the first 4 games against Mount St. Mary's. That has been a problem for Rowley, although he can give you some points. Shot clock down to 6. Evans looking for a whistle, knocks it down. And a pull-up jumper.
Boy, Evans continues his play. Fantastic play in the NCAA tournament.
Well, the book on him when we first saw him on Tuesday, a streaky 3-point shooter, but he was on a good streak. They get him their first tournament win. That was tipped away off of Albany. It'll be Florida basketball. An early fast break, a poor shooting start, but the Gators off and running. They find themselves trailing 9-5 despite the dunk. They're at it again. If they advance, they'll take on the winner of Michigan State and Delaware. Tommy Amaker's team back in it in the NCAA tournament. A good finish. We'll keep our eye on that one for you. Back to play here in Orlando. Florida with the basketball. Finney Smith knocks down the jumper out of the timeout. The 3-pointer for Dorian Finney-Smith.
And Finney-Smith, he's a 32% 3-point shooter and takes a lot of them, even though he plays that forward spot. You've got to understand, if you're Albany, that he's going to go out and shoot the 3 and he can knock it down. In the half-court set, Albany, of course, really wants to execute. They don't mind the clock running down as long as they can get a decent shot at the end.
That's Dallas Enema for 3. Had a good look at it. Just checked into the game. Enema and Luke Devlin in as Wilbekin. Great touch. Scotty Wilbekin. 13 points, a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Player of the year in the SEC because of what he does defensively as much as anything else. And they just hound Albany as Chris Walker flying high with a rejection. Wilbekin will pull it back.
And Evans is a very naturally aggressive player, but you've got to curb your instincts right there. You can't go 1-on-4 against the Florida Gators.
Well, travel, turnover for Florida. Billy Donovan getting a little more energy out of the group on the floor.
And Scotty Wilbekin is such a dangerous player because he can hurt you in so many ways. He's a 40% 3-point shooter, but he's really good attacking the basket, as you saw right there. Got to stay in front of him.
Florida winning their last game Sunday, beating Kentucky. It was a tight one. A 61-60 win in the SEC title game. Billy Donovan's team hit 8 3-pointers in that game. Wilbekin had 3 of those, had 11 points. And they're playing some grind them out, low-scoring games. Only Virginia held their opponents to fewer points over the last 2 years. Albany very methodical on offense, looking for the right shot, the right drive. They're going to have a tough time getting to the basket against the Gators. Here's Hooley. And now the shot clock at 7. Got to go quickly here. DJ Evans. Evans, another high arcing shot. Beautiful roll. How about that friendly rim?
That's twice he's made really tough shots at the end of the shot clock.
Finney Smith for three, in and out. Young rips the rebound down and then rips the rim down. Patrick Young.
He is an outstanding offensive rebounder and a big, powerful guy. 6'9", 240 pounds. Really going to be a handful in there all day long for the Great Danes.
This is Devlin. Gives it to Rowley. You see Florida picking at Rowley. The guy turns it over a lot, as we mentioned.
Well, Hooley's game is driving the ball to the basket. It's just going to be hard for him to get in there against guys like Patrick Young.
Casey Hill whips it in the corner. Devon Walker misfires on the three. Gators by a point. Albany making half their shots. A couple of friendly bounces for the Danes. Here's Peter Hooley, and he's fouled. Young got a piece of him. Cutting to the lane. We'll have free throws coming up for Peter Hooley.
They said his mom had finally, after 4 years of waiting, been cleared to have surgery to remove cancer. And he said, "Mom, I am so happy that you are not coming. He cannot wait to play for her tonight." And guys, every time that he touches his ankle, that's him signaling to his mother, who's watching right now live in Australia.
Boy, that's a great story, Christine. Thanks for sharing that. And Peter Hooley counted on for big points. Very touching story. And we wish his mother the best. You know, she's found a way to watch this game in Australia. And Christine mentioned that he touches the ankle. There he goes, thinking of mom. Hooley is an excellent free throw shooter. 86% for the year. He knocks them both down. He was the most outstanding player of the America East Conference Tournament. Prather on the dish from Wilbekin. No whistles anywhere. Everybody's looking for one, but Prather goes down hard.
Albany showing a little 1-2-2 pressure in the three-quarter court, and Florida just knifed right through it. Billy Donovan asking the official, "Hey, wasn't that a foul?"
He's working on Earl Walton over there as the Gators go back on top. This is Johnson. Got it. He's got a great stroke. Gary Johnson.
As long as he stays inside the arc, he is a really, really good shooter. Well over 50% inside that arc, only 1 for 7 outside.
He was so active against Mount St. Mary's, had 8 points and 10 rebounds on Tuesday. First ever win for Albany in the NCAA Tournament in their 4th trip. Will Brown's brought him here all 4 occasions.
This looks for all the world like a triangle and 2 that Albany is playing. They're guarding Prather and Wilbekin, and the other 3 guys are playing zone.
Young traveled. Another turnover for Florida. That's their 3rd. Say, if you missed getting your bracket in, it's not too late. Join the Capital One NCAA March Madness round-by-round game now. NCAA.com/round-by-round.
No, heck, if you're late with your bracket, you can put Harvard in over Cincinnati and advance them and look really good.
How about that? Over on TNT, it just wrapped up a moment ago. Harvard, for the 2nd consecutive year, an upset win. They advanced to the round of 32.
They won last year, as you mentioned, as a 14 seed, Brian, and this year as a 12 seed.
Albany ball. They have a 1-point lead. Holding serve here in the first half of the first half. And Sam Rowley, we talked about the unorthodox nature of their offense. They get their baskets in a very international way, if that's such a thing, man.
I don't know if that was international. That was just tough. He's 6'6". Really has to maneuver inside against the taller Florida Gators. And there's Dorian Finney-Smith. He's been aggressive since he entered the game. We saw him shoot the 3. That time he takes it to the basket. Finney-Smith gets inside the defense, and that's really strong right there to take the contact. Very nearly got that 3-point play opportunity out of that.
Well, what a producer off the bench, Finney-Smith, as he hits the first free throw.
Now Finney-Smith, the SEC 6th man of the year, so he can really produce off the bench.
Finney-Smith averaging nearly 9 a game, nearly 7 rebounds per game off the bench. Pretty quiet in their win against Kentucky, though. Had 6 rebounds, but just 3 points. And he knocks down both free throws. Dorian Finney-Smith. As the Gators within a point. Albany sitting here in the lead with the ball. Peter Hooley gives it back to Evans.
So far, Albany has done a very, very nice job against this Florida pressure. You're going to turn it over some. You just got to keep the numbers down.
Plenty of clock here. They find Puck. Passes up the first one. Now he'll take it. And he'll hit his second jump shot of the game.
Puck is capable of hitting that jump shot as long as he has enough time and space.
6'10", a big man from Waterloo. He's a senior as well. He's got a nice touch. And Finney Smith on a great setup underneath. Well, he had all kind of room to do whatever he wanted.
Well, they're playing that triangle in two, and with Frazier back in the game, they're not guarding Prather anymore. They're guarding Frazier. There's Puck. They ought to guard him.
He's feeling it. John Puck. When it comes back quickly, Albany gets back, and that's going to be a block. A foul on Rowley. Look at how the Gators break the zone.
You get the ball in the middle of the zone, and when you draw the defense, the penetration just kills any defense. And again, I think that wasn't a straight zone. That looked to me like a triangle in two where Albany was guarding Frazier and Wilbekin, and the other three guys were playing zone. And if you attack it like that, it's hard to play that defense.
Young goes inside to Finney Smith. Boy, that's been a nice combo in the last couple of possessions. Another dunk for Finney Smith. By the way, Rowley has 2 fouls, and he goes to the bench. And there's a steal. Prather. And a foul. Down it goes. Chance for 3 as Prather jumps the lane, comes up with a steal and the basket.
He can't throw that soft pass up in the middle of the court against the Florida Gators. Prather sees that coming a mile away, goes hard to the basket. Evans trying to take the charge, and for Evans, it's a bad pass, and then he's just got to get out of the way. Better to give up the basket than get a foul and give up the basket and a free throw opportunity.
Prather is active early, has 7 of the 22 Florida points.
Now, for all the talk about Scotty Wilbekin being the team leader, Prather actually is the leading scorer for the Gators, and he does it just that way, attacking the basket.
Now, Prather, a little over 14 a game, their top scorer. Wilbekin's in there at 13. Then you got Frazier, nearly 13. Very balanced scoring, and on any given night or any given day, anybody can come up with a top game scoring-wise.
And here we are in the first really key moment of this game for the Great Danes. They've hung in, they haven't turned the ball over. Now they've suffered a turnover. Florida seems to be on a little bit of a roll.
And Johnson on a great pass from John Puck.
And that's the way you answer. That was a key moment. They responded.
Well, there was a very small window for Puck to put that pass, and he delivered it perfectly.
Now straight zone. Johnson playing up at the top of a 1-2-2 kind of set.
Wilbekin back in there. And here's Finney Smith and a foul. And Puck going to be hit for the foul, his second. So some foul trouble brewing here for Albany, but they're hanging tough. 16 versus 1. Albany and Florida all tied up.
And convert that press into turnovers and points, they become very, very tough.
This is one of 2 turnovers so far for Albany, all tied at 23, as Finney Smith will shoot a pair of free throws here. And a reminder to watch live games on your Amazon Kindle, Android device, iPhone, iPad, or computer with NCAA March Madness Live. You can watch now at ncaa.com/March Madness or download the app today. As Finney Smith hits 1 of 2, the Gators back on top. Albany with the ball. Albany has made 6 of their last 7 field goals. And a hot shooting run for Florida as well. They made 5 of their last 7. Now we got a whistle on Casey Hill of Florida.
One of the things that Will Brown needs his team to do is be very aggressive on the offensive end, really try to execute their plays. That's what happened that time. Evans hustling through the play. Hill trying to guard him, fouled him. That's what you have to do. You've got to be intense on offense and on defense.
14 foul for Florida. Albany does a lot of their work when they get to the free throw line and get in the bonus. Nothing home for Johnson. Puck playing with 2 fouls. Rowley continues to sit. Ooh, almost an interception, but Evans has it, and a three-pointer is good. DJ Evans. He's proven, Dan, he's not afraid of the spotlight.
No, he loves the spotlight, and he loves to attack. That pass just managed to get through there, however. The shorter the passes you make against this defense, the better. That's a pretty short pass.
Yeah, plenty of highlights coming for the Gators.
Wow.
This game is still tied, even though there have been a number of opportunities to get a sold-out arena on their feet. Predominantly Gators fans here. Here's Hooley for three. And Young clears it away. The Gators want to move it.
Hooley's a good three-point shooter, but I don't know about that shot on the move.
Prather comes up short. Battle for the ball. Devlin is down there. That'll be a held ball, and this will be in the possession of Albany.
We just talked about you have to make short, crisp passes against this defense. Puck just slides one in there, and Evans takes advantage of it. His man runs by. Now, Florida inside passing. The Albany defense comes to help. Nobody on the other side of that zone.
Most of it getting done inside, you see.
Well, that's where Florida has a tremendous advantage, and the more they work inside, they not only can score inside, but they can also force foul trouble against Albany, and that's what they've done so far.
All tied up.
Gators don't have to beat Albany in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. They got 40 minutes to do it.
Here's Hooley. Dishes to Devlin. Frazier pulls down the board, looking ahead to Prather, and Prather finishes easily at the basket.
Now, you're not going to make all your shots, but you've got to make an extremely high percentage, because when you miss, that's the kind of opportunities that Florida gets. They get that rebound and they go.
Boy, Hooley almost lost it, and Johnson can't put it back. Scotty Wilbekin. Frazier, he's been quiet. All the activity inside. He'll let a three go, and you wonder if he's getting a little anxious. Unable to really get any offense going. Hasn't really needed it for Florida at this point. A deadly three-point shooter, Michael Frazier.
Albany has done a nice job so far getting out and pressuring those three-point shooters.
Out of bounds on Florida. Well, the CBS Sports app is all you need for tournament scores, bracket games, highlights, and more. Get it now at cbssports.com/mobile. Message and data rates may apply. Great Danes of Albany, the purple and gold. Just under 5 minutes remaining in this first half. Albany down 2 with the ball.
And clearly, Albany has stayed in the game for these 15 minutes. Now, there you go. They make another shot. Now, what you don't want to do if you're the Great Danes is allow Florida to go off on some run that puts you down 8 or 10 at halftime.
That was the other Aussie connection. Luke Devlin, 1 of 4 from down unders. Wilbekin answers on the other end. Gators back on top.
And Wilbekin is just taking his time out there. He's not forcing a thing on offense.
Prather poked it away. Turnover for Albany. Prather gives it up. And a tough pass for you get to handle. Young on the floor. Hooley comes away with it.
Wow. Puck with those 2 fouls. That was dangerous. That almost looked like a tackle out there.
Will Brown says slow it down and breathe. Evans comes up short. Interesting, they got Hooley with the ball in hand the last few possessions. Evans playing off the ball. Young takes on puck with those 2 fouls. Patrick Young, so strong. What a beast he is out of Jacksonville, Florida. His last run with the Gators here in his senior season. Florida up 4, getting all they want from the Great Danes of Albany. UConn up with under 6 to play, and UConn would hold on to win that game, but Albany, they took their shot at UConn that year.
Yeah, they sure did, Brian. And the formula is you've got to stay in the game, and that's the start, and then give yourself a chance to win it at the end. And that's exactly what Albany has done to this point. Florida has not been able to break away. Albany's done a fairly good job against, in fact, a very good job against the pressure.
Albany down 4 with the ball. Gators putting the pressure pressure on them, and a whistle. Devon Walker couldn't get it turned around in time. That's going to send us to another break. Albany with the ball, down 4.
Well, how about Harvard? It took them 66 years to get in the NCAA tournament, and now they've won twice in a row in the first round. Or the second round, I'm going to correct myself. You and I were at the first round.
That's right. Old habits die hard. Albany down 4 with the ball. Sam Rowley is back in for the Danes with 2 fouls. John Puck playing with 2 fouls as well. Rowley's got the ball here, matched up by Young. Rowley, little fadeaway with 1 foot on the ground. Gets his own.
They got to shoot it.
Shot clock winding down and hits the rim. It would have counted had it gone.
Now, those are the kind of moves that Rowley can make successfully in the America East, but not against the SEC player, the defensive player of the year.
Wilbekin, so unselfish, gives it to Young, and it's off his hands.
Florida has not been impatient in this game. They're just sort of grinding away, waiting for opportunities.
Michael Frazier is back in. He's had just 1 3-point attempt. Mike Rowley, the younger brother of Sam Rowley, checks in. Doesn't see a lot of playing time. Albany's rotation is really only 7 deep. So I have to call on a couple of guys here. It's Wilbekin, knifes his way in, and he gets a roll. Scotty Wilbekin for 2.
Boy, he's really something going to the basket. He can find room in the smallest spaces.
Gators up 6.
And again, this is what we were talking about. Florida just grinding away, gradually extending the lead. Another situation where Albany needs a basket here to keep this game within reach.
Gators have their largest lead. Albany's been hanging tough. Johnson lost the handle, gets it back, comes up short. Now the Gators on the run. Prather leads the press, and he gives it up to Frazier. That's going to be a foul going the other way. Offensive foul on Casey Prather. Take a look at our Buick first half game summary.
One of the things that Albany does very well is get to the free throw line and convert. They're another one of those teams who make more free throws than their opponent's attempt, so Florida's not really let them get to the free throw line today.
There's 4 trips to the line for Albany. They get 3 of those 4 free throws.
They're an excellent free throw shooting team, so you understand why they try to get to the line.
Puck all the way across the floor. Johnson. That was a 2, and it's in and out.
Nice job. They got a wide open shot, but they're not able to convert it. Good job by Puck getting turned against that double team.
Billy Donovan wants a timeout. Will Brown will talk to the Danes. Scotts and Lowe's are challenging you to choose your Final Four teams. Visit Lowe's.com/ScottsSeed for a chance to win a trip for 2 to the 2014 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Final Four. Brian Anderson with Dan Bonner, Christine Leahy, the Gators on the move. Wilbekin misfires on the 3. Young, the offensive board. And as we approach 1 minute remaining in this first half, Wilbekin will set it up.
1 minute to play, 1 minute remaining.
Young can't handle that pass from Finney-Smith. B.J. Evans will methodically march it up the floor. Albany started hitting 10 of their first 15 tries. They've made just 2 of their last 10 field goal attempts. They've had some open looks too.
And Florida's defense has really tightened up.
Still Mike Rowley on the floor, in for his brother Sam. And Evans in and out.
See, early in the game, Albany was making those tough shots. Lately, those tough shots have been rimming out. And so the Gator defense has been strong throughout. They forced those tough shots.
Just wrapping up on CBS, Syracuse beating Western Michigan. And the Qs advancing to the round of 32. We welcome all of those coming from there to here as the top-seeded Gators getting a handful from the University at Albany, the Great Danes out of the America East Conference.
That was a foul that Johnson actually gave because they only had 5 team fouls. So now it's 16 fouls, and they get their Albany gets some of their key players out of the game so they don't pick up fouls here in the last couple of seconds.
Evans back in. Wilbekin goes right to the basket, and that's how it ends. Well, if you're Albany, you're there. Florida,
we're fine though. We're in a good place right now. We got to make the first run of the second half.
Coach, thank you.
And Albany missing their last 6 field goal attempts. And Will Brown coming off the program's first ever NCAA tournament win in Dayton on Tuesday. And that quick turnaround back at it against the top seed. We're underway in the second half. Florida ball at a 6-point lead.
Florida again was very effective going inside in the first half. 24 inside points.
It's been a quiet day for Michael Frazier with all of those points inside. He takes the first shot of the second half. You wonder if he's getting a little frustrated not being a part of the offense here. Albany coming out of the America East. And we set it up again. No 16 has ever beaten a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Albany gave UConn a run back in 06. Sam Rowley starts his second half. He only played 9 minutes in the first half with 2 fouls. Got to get one up quickly. Shot clock at 2. Evans hoists one, and a shot clock violation.
Part of the problem, if you're Albany, with trying to slow it down on offense, you don't really want to get to an end of the shot clock period against a great defensive team like Florida. So I'm not sure that it's a good idea to just pass the ball around without trying to attack. I think you should be attacking the entire 35 seconds of the shot clock and taking good shots. That's where the discipline comes in.
Or Young clears the deck but misses the dunk. He put Rowley on his back.
Wow.
And they're going to blow the whistle.
And Will Brown is asking him to take a look. Now the question is, did he hit Rowley or did Rowley just go down? Now, Will Brown is able to ask the referees to go over and take a look at that. If they decide there's nothing here, he'll be charged with a timeout.
Will Brown was working on Sean Lehigh. He went over to chat with Michael Cyphers, and then they decided to just go take a look. So we'll give him the best look we can.
Well, that's the end of the play. He's talking about earlier in the play. Young catches the ball and turns. Oh, he did get him.
Yeah, he got him.
Okay, he got him all right. Now, the officials, since they did not make a call on the court, yeah, he got him. Since they did not make a call on the court, they only have 2 options here. They can call it a flagrant 1, which is 2 shots in the ball for Albany, and Albany will get the ball.
And we appreciate Sean Lehigh coming over, giving us an explanation we could pass along quickly. Rowley will shoot a pair. He's a 70% free throw shooter. He knocks down the first.
And we mentioned it a couple times in the first half. Albany is a team that's very good from the free throw line, so the more they can get there, the better they like it, although he missed that one.
Patrick Young, good sportsmanship there.
Right, Patrick Young, that wasn't anything intentional.
Right.
Young is just trying to square up to the basket, and it just so happens Young is like 6'10", and Rowley is 6'6", and his face is right there at Young's elbow level.
And surviving a Patrick Young elbow is no small victory for Sam Rowley, believe me. Albany with the ball, 1 of 2 on the technical shots, and there's a foul. Wilbekin fouls Rowley.
And that's something, when Billy Donovan told Christine Leahy going off at halftime that Florida had to play better defense, that's what he meant, that they have to do a better job in their pressure. Albany has been able to get out of the pressure. The traps haven't worked for the most part.
Billy Donovan talking about defense for the Gators going into the halftime locker room. I'm sure that took up a lot of the discussion at the half. Albany moving the ball, and here's Rowley. And the rebound pulled down by Young.
That little assortment of scoop shots and drives and things like that, it's much tougher to execute those against size that the Florida Gators have.
Well, Florida's putting him in a little different place than he's used to in the America East. Wilbekin trying to turn the corner. And here's Prather, rises up, easy as it gets for Casey Prather.
And that's his game.
Hooley finds Rowley, the two Aussies, and there's Johnson with the reverse.
And that's exactly what you need to do against the pressure. You make them pay for pressing you. You don't pull the ball back out and hold on to it, let them set the defense. That's some catch.
Young, and he had it swatted away from Evans.
This is just what we talked about at halftime, Brian. You get the ball, you pitch it ahead, nice passing, and as a result, you've got a 2-on-1 situation, and they're able to convert.
And then the question begs, with just really a 7-man rotation for Albany, a very methodical offense, a team that typically gets deep in the shot clock. How long can they run? How long can they break the press? Team that turns it over a lot as Young knocks down the first free throw. Well, we remind you to let Upwave help you unleash your inner beast. For tips and advice on how to keep your body at its best, check out upwave.com/basketball.
The point you make about depth, Brian, is a good one. I think Florida can afford to play much more intensely than they've played so far without really worrying about the foul situation. Whereas Albany, they've got to be a little bit more careful on defense because they just can't afford to lose guys.
Albany with the ball. They are down 6. A great start to this game shooting. Made 12 of their first 20, and they've gone dry since. Evans never afraid to fire one up, and he knocks it down. That's a big one for the Danes. DJ Evans now with 12 points on 5 of 9 shooting. Wilbekin for 3. Evans comes away with it. Finney Smith got a hand on it. Evans at 5'9" listed, probably not quite there. Had 9 rebounds against Mount St. Mary's on Tuesday. Peter Hooley guarded by Prather. Switches over to Finney Smith. They've done a nice job on Hooley. Kicks it out. Johnson mishandled it. Shot clock's at 6. DJ Evans trying to make his own space. That's tough to do against Florida, and a whistle. The last second on the shot clock. A whistle against Billy Donovan's Gators.
There was no way he was getting up a good shot. He is trapped here. There's really nothing he can do, and that's just a really smart move. No reason for Frazier to leave his feet there, and as soon as he does, Evans, a very, very smart player, recognizes it, jumps up and draws the foul.
Well, got to be so frustrating for Florida. You work 34 seconds, defend well, and then sends Evans to the free throw line. He hits the first, a 75% free throw shooter. Say Conan is doing a week of shows from Dallas. Conan Dallas Week starts Monday, March 31st at 11:10 Central, only on TBS. Very funny. Evans averaging just over 11, has 13 today, and he hits them both, and Albany is within 2 of the top-seeded Gators.
Not sure that Billy Donovan was happy. In fact, I'm sure he wasn't happy with the defensive execution, but he had to be pleased with the defensive intensity. And I think if Florida can just keep that intensity at that level, then they'll eventually take control of this game.
Casey Hill and Scotty Wilbekin on the floor together. For more on that notion, we check in with Christine.
Well, I just saw Billy Donovan come over to the bench, and he said, guys, this guy, he's talking about DJ Evans, he said, he's worn both of you down. He was talking to Uget and Young there, not happy.
Thank you, Christine. And a foul just as we head to commercial break.
Gators out on both ends.
It's just a 2-point game. The 16-1 matchup, Albany and Florida. Albany having to come out of the first 4 Tuesday night in Dayton as Casey Hill goes strong to the basket.
And that's the place where Albany's had the toughest time defensively, defending that area around the rim.
Albany again beats the press from the Gators. We've had 4 ties in this game, 11 lead changes. The largest lead held by the Gators, it was 7 at one point. Albany actually carried a 4-point lead at one time. Hooley to Rowley. Rowley against Finney Smith. And now Hooley for 3. He's open, and he's got it.
And that was good strength by Rowley on the inside. He was triple teamed, and you mentioned he tends to be a little turnover prone, but he made a nice pass out there to Hooley. Hooley, a 40% three-point shooter.
He hit a big one that clinched it for him in the America East Conference Tournament against Stony Brook. With a big 3 with a minute left. Albany beat Vermont, who was the #1 seed in that conference in the tournament. Then they beat Stony Brook, the #2 seed in that tournament, to win the American East for the 2nd consecutive year. And here they are, hanging with the Gators. Rolling, and he's fouled. And now the foul's starting to stack up, and that could be a huge story for Albany if they can get to the line.
Rowley, we mentioned, is a guy who's used to playing down in the post, and he makes those dribble moves trying to get to the basket, and Dorian Finney-Smith just pushed him.
That's the 4th team foul for Florida. A lot of basketball to play. Hooley breaks free, another foul. Wilbekin got him. Hooley quick to the basket on the out-of-bounds play. Gets the foul and the free throws.
And he's going to the free throw line, and one of the reasons that Albany is so good from the free throw line is they actually have their own free throw guru, and that's him right there, Don Bassett, longtime high school coach in the Albany area, coached with George Carl with Albany of the CBA, coached at St. Rose, that's where he met Will Brown. And Don Bassett, he just works with the Great Danes on their free throw shooting. And he says his technique is he makes them shoot without the ball. He checks their technique without the ball. Then when they're done, he says, did you make those? And if a player says yes, he gives the ball and says, here, prove it.
Yeah, it's all the visualization, right? We're tied. Those free throws, courtesy of Don Bassett, has even things up here.
Not Don Bassett and Peter Hooley.
Yeah, Hooley made them, that's right.
Don Bassett just told him how.
Don Bassett turned 78 in a few days. It's a great story as Wilbekin knifes in, and cannot finish, but a second chance, and Young brings it down with bodies on the floor for Albany. Patrick Young clearing the deck.
Now Billy Donovan inserted Scotty Wilbekin back into the game, I'm sure with instructions, get that ball inside. Wilbekin driving to the basket, collapses the defense, and then you get Young just take over on the inside. This is some power. There's nothing Albany can do.
Patrick Young, that foul by the way on Puck, which is his 3rd. And Young makes it a 3-point possession for the Gators. Back on top they go. Luke Devlin checks in for Albany.
When Florida attacks inside, they have a tremendous advantage in terms of size and strength. And additionally, they're going to rack up the fouls against an Albany team that is simply not very deep.
Barry Johnson. And they break the press again. And here's Rowley now. Rowley. Oh, had it swatted. Wow. Prather was way up there.
I like attacking the basket in that situation, but you just got to know where the defenders are.
Prather's had a nice game. He's been very active on both ends.
Well, the shot clock did not reset after that shot, so there's only 8 seconds, 5 now left on the clock.
And then right through the hands of Devlin. Here come the Gators. Casey Hill. Casey Hill all the way in. And Mo starting to turn for Florida now. And wow, Evans went down hard. Went down right.
He may have
the
gotten,
right ear.
He may have gotten properly so. Teams are so careful about that.
Well, Albany will have to go without their point guard, DJ Evans. Christine will keep an eye on him. We'll get you an update as soon as we get one from the Albany bench.
Now Albany back into his zone defense.
Prather gives it up to Wilbekin. And Prather comes up short. Rebound by Dallas Enema and a quick turnover. Hill steals it and a foul. As 2 hang at the rim for the Gators, Casey Hill will shoot a pair.
The issue here for Albany is Dallas Enema just needs to hang on to the basketball. There's no reason to try to get it out and push. And because they turn it over, here comes Florida again. So that's 2 consecutive baskets for Florida that are the direct result of Albany turnovers, and they're starting to gain control of this game.
4 turnovers already. 7:14 off the clock in the second half. A reminder, get the most complete coverage of every team in your bracket and the tournament's best moments with the Team Stream app from Bleacher Report. Fuel your passion with Team Stream on your iPhone, iPad, or Android device today. Casey Hill knocks them both down. We send it over to Christine with an update on DJ Evans.
Well, I just spoke with Albany's trainer. He told me he got a knee to the head for DJ Evans. They're not worried about concussions right now, and he thinks he's going to be able to go back in.
And he's on his feet. And he's telling his coach, you got to put me back in after another turnover by Albany. And here comes Evans.
Now that's really good to see. He took a blow to the head, but they checked him out. They decided he's okay, and of course they desperately need him because they've turned it over a couple times in a row now, and this is what Florida wants to do.
That's 3 turnovers in this little segment here. Florida now disrupting Albany just as they were able to tie it up. Jumping quickly to a 7-point lead. And another body goes down hard. That's an offensive foul. That's going to be on Patrick Young. His 3rd foul, and it'll be Albany basketball.
This is a situation where Patrick Young, you got to wonder what he's doing with the basketball. He's not a dribbler from that far away. Throw it to a guard.
So Young is headed out with 10 points and 3 fouls.
But as we've mentioned, Florida much better able to sustain foul problems in this particular game, much better than Albany.
How can Albany weather this run by the Gators? Matches their largest lead, Florida, at 7. We'll see how DJ Evans plays here after that knee to the head a moment ago. He's guarded by Hill. It was Hill's knee who sent him out. Shot clock down to 4, rolling, and here's Evans for 3. A little long, and that'll be out of bounds on puck. Timeout on the floor. Both teams looking for their moment. Albany and Florida in the South region. Until a flurry just a moment ago, a quick 7-point spurt for Florida. Now they lead by 7. Florida with the ball. Florida has forced 5 Albany turnovers in this second half alone, and they have 8 total.
They forced 3 of them back to back to back, and that was what Florida used to build their run.
Good looking pass inside. Finney Smith, the post-to-post passing for the Gators.
32 of the 48 points from Florida coming on the inside, as they have been most effective when they've gotten the ball down close.
Just keeping an eye on DJ Evans here. He looks fine. He's going through his normal stuff. He got a shot off a moment ago. Took a nasty knee to the head.
Well, he wouldn't be in there unless he was okay. The trainers and medical staff are very careful about that stuff. And there's Puck. He's hit a couple of jump shots now. So it's just good to see Evans back in the game. He was such an entertaining figure the other night up in Dayton, and he has continued that kind of play here today.
8 points for Puck. Here's Frazier for 3. And he's misfired again. Frazier just has not been able to get going, but there really hasn't been a lot of opportunities for him with so many points in the paint.
Albany now trying to cut into this lead.
Rowley is hounded. That'll be a held ball. Possession arrow belongs to Albany.
Florida does such a great job. Doesn't matter what defense they're playing. It can be man-to-man or it can be a zone. You throw the ball in the corner and you have the guy turn his back. Here's a trap, and this is an excellent trap.
Remember, Florida is sitting on 16 fouls. You got to figure a big part of the game plan, and it usually is in their conference for Albany, is to try to get to the line. Can they get that next foul and get into the bonus with a lot of basketball to play? Shot clock down to 3. Evans had it swatted. Casey Hill got that one. Frazier gives it to Wilbekin, who returns it, and Frazier knocks it down. First 3-pointer made for Michael Frazier. Now down goes Evans again. Boy, Evans is getting roughed up in this second half.
That is a very dangerous pass. Really put Evans in a tough situation. The advantage for Albany, though, with 10 minutes left in the game, they're going to be shooting on every foul now. They're 75% free throw shooting team. Evans a 76% free throw shooter.
It's the first. Now let's take a look at the collision in the backcourt.
And again, he has been bounced around. Fortunately, he didn't get hit in the head. That time he got dropped on his backside. Still doesn't feel very good.
And he knocks them both down. Big free throws. That's going to be something to watch. See, Evans will head to the bench with 10 points. Dallas Enema checking in. We got 6 of those 10 in the, I beg your pardon, 16, and 6 of those in the second half.
And I think that's a substitution made by the training staff. I think they advised Will Brown to get Evans out of the game so they could take another look at it.
Let's give him a minute. And a timeout on the floor. Can Albany hang in there with the top seed? Lost, but only 5 1-16 matchups have been decided by 5 points or fewer. Does Albany have it in them here today as we check in with Christine?
Well, Coach Brown was just telling his guys, hey, we're all right now. We just need to do better on the glass, and we need to watch the shot clock situations a little bit better.
Thank you, Christine. And that's going to be out of bounds on Albany. Florida basketball, Billy Donovan. 18th season, now the dean of the SEC. And he's won a lot of tournament games. He's going to bring Young back in with 3 fouls.
Substitution for quarterback on board, number 4, Patrick Young.
And you get will head to the bench. 9:41 remaining in regulation. Johnson got a piece of that.
Billy Donovan knows that his team does not have complete control of this game yet. Frazier knocking down that 3. We'll see if that opens things up even more on the inside.
Wilbekin, and somehow he finds Finney-Smith.
Somehow is right. I don't know how he got that ball through there.
10-point Florida lead. Sam Rowley gives it to Evans. He's had a hard-knock second half, been on the floor twice. Gators had a 6-point halftime lead. They pushes for the first time into double digits.
Now, obviously, they're going to have to score to stay close in the game.
Here's Puck. Comes up short on that one. He hit his first 3. And Hill able to save it to Young. Casey Hill running the break. And here's Wilbekin for 3.
And they're going to get Young, I think.
No, it's going to be on Puck.
No, it's going to be on Puck, hanging on.
Yep, that's his 4th.
Nice job by Casey Hill pushing the ball, and Casey Hill is a guy who really likes to push the ball. And Johnson went down on that particular play, but Puck was hanging on to Patrick Young. So Patrick Young, he's got Puck hanging on to him. He's still able to knock Johnson down.
And Billy Donovan says, don't penalize him for being big. There's been a lot of Great Danes on the deck around Patrick Young. And here's Young again. Puck, good defense, and tracks it down, playing with 4 fouls. Albany has no choice at this point.
Now Albany's got to make a little run here. They've got to tighten this thing up to get within 4 or 6, just to really put the pressure on Florida down the stretch.
Peter Hooley, a little short. Johnson with a putback. Flying high, Gary Johnson. Back to single digits. Wilbekin and Hill on the floor together.
Albany back in their zone.
Casey Hill, a lot of room in there. Casey Hill makes it look easy. And he has 8 now.
Florida continues to have success attacking the basket.
All 8 of those points for Hill coming in the second half. Gary Johnson, here's Evans now. Evans is the top scorer in this game with 16. And he'll go, and a travel. So a turnover for you, Albany. Florida with a basketball. 10-point is their lead.
Come here in the second half, and so Florida has turned up the pressure. Albany has not handled it as well in the second half, and Florida continues to get the ball inside.
Florida by 10 with a basketball. And inside to Patrick Young, had that one denied. On the floor again goes Evans. Saves the possession. And we'll see if Albany has a run in them. Florida had a 6-point lead at the half. Billy Donovan calling for better defense in the second half.
I think the Florida half-court defense has been okay. Maybe not sufficiently intense in the first half, but I thought they executed the defense pretty well. What they weren't able to do is force turnovers.
Young got a piece of that. Defensive Player of the Year of the SEC. Makes a big defensive play there. And gets Wilbekin on the move. Finney Smith. Friendly rim. Finney Smith for 2.
As you would expect from the SEC's 6th man of the year, Finney Smith leading the Gators in scoring now with 17 points off the bench.
Yeah, plenty of hardware going around for the Gators, and Will Brown needs a timeout. Some words for Gary Johnson. It's a 12-point Florida lead region. And the headliner, the Florida Gators, in the second game of 4 today. Pittsburgh beat Colorado in the first game. And Pittsburgh awaiting the winner of this one. Pittsburgh blew out the Buffalo 77-48. Rowley, crafty in there, but can't finish. Albany needed that one. Now the Gators can add to their lead. Finney Smith for 3. Little long. Rebound by Johnson. Evans.
Well, Evans certainly has lost the element of surprise. They've been all over him.
Christine told us in the huddle, Billy Donovan emphasizing Evans and calling out a couple of his defenders today. As Hooley, tough shot. Rowley, offensive board. And Rowley up and under, no. Gets his own again. Rowley comes up short again. Too many big bodies in there for Sam Rowley.
Yeah, he's not strong enough to knife through him.
Ball is loose. Evans comes away. Hooley will take a 3. Puck the board, and Puck gets a basket. And Billy Donovan not pleased. Matter of fact, I don't think Will Brown's all that pleased either, but Albany gets it.
And they have totally dominated on the inside, forcing Albany out to the perimeter. But the key has been Florida's ability to force turnovers in the second half. That's enabled them to stretch this lead out to 10.
Top scorer for the Gators, Dorian Finney-Smith. He has 16, 3 in double figures for Florida. Finney-Smith and Patrick Young. Casey Prather has 12 points as well. Casey Hill's had a big second half. And he's been able to get by Evans quite a bit. Evans fouls him here.
That's how Hill has had the big second half, attacking the basket.
Florida in the bonus. 1-1 coming for Casey Hill, the freshman backup point guard. Averages 5.5 points per game. Certainly the Gators would like to see him improve his free throw shooting, and he figures to get to the line a lot. He's shooting to 63%. You get checks in for Finney Smith.
Brian Hill has scored all 9 of his points in the second half, and in addition to that, he's got 2 steals and a blocked shot. So he's been busy.
He's been dealing with a groin issue earlier this year, trying to fight through that. It's taking a little bit of his quickness away.
Well, now you're in a situation, if you're Albany, you cannot afford to be as patient as you've been trying to be the entire game. You're down 12. There's only 4.5 minutes left to go in the game. You need scores.
Give credit to the Gators defensively. Just as Albany got into the bonus, they have really not been able to get to the free throw line. Evans splits the double team, and he's fouled. And just as I say, that free throw is coming for DJ Evans.
Gives you some idea of Evans' toughness here. He gets knocked down twice, but he still keeps his dribble. And then fearless, he goes right in between those 2 guys and draws the foul.
Well, not a whole lot there. Evans will shoot 2. Rather 1-1.
Well, he has easily been one of the most entertaining players in the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Evans had 22 points against Mount St. Mary's in their win on Tuesday in Dayton. Albany winning the America East Conference for the 2nd consecutive year. And Evans hits both free throws. Back to a 10-point lead for Florida.
And now they need stops, and stops have been hard to come by in the second half. Florida's been able to drive the ball to the basket or throw it inside just about any time they wanted to.
Dump it down into Young. Jump hook. Too strong. Puck with the board.
Florida take that shot about every time. Young will usually make that one.
Peter Hooley trying to turn the corner. Hooley couldn't get the spin he wanted. And now in transition, Prather from Wilbekin. Boy, that didn't take long to get down the court for the Gators.
Boy, Wilbekin doing a nice job looking down the court, and Prather really hustling.
Evans to puck. Kicks it out to Gary Johnson, who hits a 3. Single digits again for Albany, back within 9 of Florida.
It's only Johnson's 2nd 3-point basket the entire season.
And a kick ball. 25 points a game. He did most of his damage in the second half on Tuesday in Dayton. Looking forward to seeing the Wolfpack and TJ Warren. They'll be taking on St. Louis in our 3rd game.
Yeah, you got a lot of options about which games you want to watch, Brian. 4 to be precise about it, and I don't think you can make a bad choice watching TJ Warren play.
Shot clock down to 5, and Frazier comes up short. Frazier has 1 3-pointer made.
And again, you've got to go quickly. You don't want to take a bad shot fast, but you've got to get a good shot quickly. Rowley only 1 for 8 shooting today, and that's because his basic operation is inside, and Florida's just too big for him.
Johnson, the floater is not there, and Frazier the rebound. Florida with that 9-point lead, 2:22 remaining in regulation. It's part of the South region. The Florida Gators, the top seed, trying to advance to take on Pittsburgh, who had a 29-point win over Colorado. In the corner, Scotty Wilbekin. And is that the nail? Albany running out of time here with 2:05. Billy Donovan, back-to-back Coach of the Year in the SEC. And he has had to work a great deal in this game. There's been a lot of conversation and a lot of shouting over there on that Florida sideline. But his Gators are in control. Gritty effort by the Great Danes of Albany. There's puck, air ball, and that's out of bounds on Albany. Rowley had a foot on the line.
Brian, you're absolutely right. A very gritty effort by the Great Danes of Albany, but when you're going up against the #1 team in the country, you have to be better than just gritty. Gritty isn't going to do it. You've got to make some shots, and we said before the game they had to play pretty much a perfect game, and they just weren't able to do that, but that's a hard task.
And if you're Florida and you're in a game like this, just win the game and move on, right? As Peter Hooley has that one blocked by Prather, and now Wilbekin, he's fouled by Puck.
There is never a time during a basketball season where you get style points. Now, you might want to get some, you might want to have impressive wins if people are going to vote in polls so you can move up in the rankings. But Puck has just fouled out of the game. There is no poll here. All you have to do is win the game. Doesn't matter whether you win it by 1 or whether you win it by 15.
Right.
You just have to win the game. You move on to the next round.
Big hand for John Puck. He's a senior. He'll be playing his final game for the University at Albany as he fouls out. Out of Waterloo, Iowa, John Puck. All-America East Conference this year. Set a UNA record for blocked shots. Led the conference in that category and has the program record. Made great contributions to Albany.
His ability to make open jump shots really helped Albany in the first half.
One and one for Scotty Wilbekin.
Wilbekin's a guy who just goes about his business. He has played, I think, a very solid game today. Nothing spectacular. But he hadn't tried to rush anything on offense, and he's been the key to that defense here in the second half.
Gators fans know his story well, coming off a suspension to start the year. Matter of fact, suspended twice in a 7-month span. Suspended for the first 3 games as Evans hits a 3, and if nothing else, he's the top scorer for players under 6 feet, Dan, against the Florida Gators this year. Well, you see Harvard has advanced over the East region. Michigan State and Delaware still at it on TNT. As soon as we're done here, head on over to TNT to catch Michigan State, the 4 seed, try to advance and take on the 12 seed, the upset-minded Harvard team, again in the NCAA tournament, winning in the first round. They were a 14 seed last year, beat New Mexico. Free throws coming up for Florida and Casey Prather. So I went to commercial talking about under 6 feet, right? I just want to finish that off. So Taj Shamsuddin of Auburn had 17 points against Florida this year. We're going for the under 6 foot. This is where I like to and feel most comfortable with these statistics. Well, today, DJ Evans with 21 points. So he's got that going for him.
Okay. Well, and certainly he's scored the most points for a guy under 6 foot with a funny looking uniform.
That's right. I don't know if you're coming or going, right? Made a lot of noise there. Uniforms. Albany taking down Stony Brook to win their conference tournament. And their mascot, Damien, actually made some headlines. Got in a little skirmish, a junkyard dog, that is Damien, with Stony Brook's mascot. It's a good run for them. Their first ever NCAA tournament win.
You know how territorial dogs do.
That's right. Well, we wind it down, and the Florida Gators set up for a matchup with Pitt, who was very impressive.
I'm telling you what, if the Pitt Panthers can play anywhere approaching the performance they put on today, that'll be a great game on Saturday.
Some big bodies there. Talib Zana had 18 points for the Panthers today. A 29-point win over the Buffs.
And how much fun will that be, watching Talib Zana go up against Patrick Young?
Well, the SEC and the ACC. As we wind it down in Orlando, the Gators will take the shot clock violation. One last possession for Albany. And a chance to get some playing time in an NCAA tournament game. Musa Egariba, Reese Williams, Anders Haas, Levon Shangalia. Anders Haas, you got to get a shot up. Don't you have to get a shot up here? I'm thinking yes. Yeah, attaboy. Anders Haas. No. And that's how it'll end. So the Gators, it was a ball game for a while. It was tied in the second half, but the Gators pull away. It was a 6